The past couple of months, I suppose, we have started discussing Karaniyametta Sutta, which is famously known as the Mettasutta in the Buddhist circles, and I'm doing it really slowly. Yeah. So sometimes just spend 1 or 2 hours just with one word, which is also kind of nice. Yeah, they are quite powerful concepts to understand really well. So I have been starting these sessions by first chanting the sutta in English, because it's always really nice to see the response or the reaction in our mind as we listen and understand the meaning. So you can, if you wish, close your eyes and just listen as I chant the sutta in English, and then we will go into the sermon. This is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness and who knows the path of peace. Let them be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, not busy with duties, and frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm, and wise and skillful, not proud and demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove, wishing in gladness and in safety. May all beings be happy, whatever living beings there may be, whether they are weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born. May all beings be happy. Let none deceive another or despise any beings in any state. Let none through anger or ill will wish harm upon another, even as a mother protects with her life her child, her only child. So with a boundless heart should one cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded, freed from hatred and ill will, whether standing or walking, seated or lying down, free from drowsiness. One should sustain this recollection. This is said to be the sublime abiding, by not holding to false views, the pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision, being freed from all sense desires, is not born again into this world. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So, just because it has been a while since we did the last sermon, just to recap. So this discourse on Karaniyametta Sutta is not only about the way to radiating kindness, its ultimate purpose is full enlightenment, as we have said in the beginning, and also as we heard as we chanted, not being born again into this world. So in elsewhere in the suttas as well, the Buddha says the purpose of metta meditation in the Buddha's dispensation is to purify one's own heart. Purify one's own heart and to reach full enlightenment. Etang santang padang, that is that very peaceful state. To reach that very peaceful state, and that is nibbana. And if one falls short, then one is born in the Brahma realms. And that is why not born into the human realm or to the animal realm or into a womb, but they will be having an existence in the Brahma realms. And from there, they will reach full enlightenment. So it's quite a powerful practice, the metta meditation. But the ultimate purpose or the goal of it is full enlightenment, the purification of the heart. And also in the beginning of the sutta, it states that the preparations, the foundations that one needs to do in order to start this practice of metta meditation. So there are maybe about 14 or 15 different qualities that are mentioned. And the beautiful thing to know as we hear them is that we have a lot of these qualities within us. And sometimes, depending on each person, some qualities are strong, some qualities are not so strong. But the idea is they are like little plants, little saplings. They have all the potential to grow if you give them the right condition. So it is about learning what these are and how can we cultivate these ones. So we can see which ones are strong in us and which ones are our weak ones. So we can support and grow and cultivate all of these things. And as these qualities come to culmination, to fulfillment, then you would be also an arahant, because an arahant has perfected these qualities or has reached, with arahantship, they are complete. So in the last class, we spoke about the quality mudu, being a gentle person. 2 hours, I think we spent great detail. But the previous one, we had the quality about sovachasata, being easy to speak to, easy to listen to, and those two qualities, and this the quality that we are going to talk about today is anatimānī, not conceited. So not conceited, that quality. These three go together, in fact, almost inseparable. Could have even done them all in one class rather than doing 3 separate classes of many hours. But they are also quite important, which is why I have taken so much time. Because these are things that most people, myself included, are quite weak in, because we have a long way to go becoming, easy to speak to be gentle, and arrogance, so to be less arrogant. We may not be very in a gross way arrogant, but in subtle ways this arrogance is there. So that's that quality. Not being an arrogant person is anatimānī. Atimānī is the opposite, and that is somebody who's arrogant, who's conceited, in a way thinking, I am better, I'm superior. But there are 3 conceits: I'm better, I'm worse, or I'm equal. All of these 3 things are problematic in the Dhamma. They are all wrong views. So to begin with, why is it a problem? Why is this arrogance a problem? So I want to, and they go together, being difficult to speak to and also difficult to listen. So when somebody is arrogant, again, it is very hard for them to receive any teachings, receive any instructions, isn't it? Because an arrogant person starts just like the person who is difficult to speak to, which is the sovachasata, or somebody who's not gentle, because they are very closely related. They start with saying, I know. Yeah. When you ever start to say something to somebody, if they start with saying, I know, that is a clear sign that these three qualities are present in these people to some degree. Or even if it is worse, they go inside their mind saying, who are you to tell me? Yeah, because this is my expert area. I have been practicing for so long. I have been studying for these things for so long. I know these things really well. They start listening to instructions like that, and they don't really actually listen. All they listen to is their own chatter, yeah, own knowledge. And even if they listen in a way trying to find fault with the speaker, saying, oh, you think you know better than me? Let's see. Yeah. And in a way that you'd argue or ask questions in a way to sort of not take it in, but rather disparage the speaker. Yeah. So this is how you are listening. And that is not somebody who knows how to listen, somebody who's not having that sovachassata quality. Instead, somebody who is having dovachassata, somebody who is not gentle, somebody who is not um, anatimānī, but attimānī. Yeah? So this is really clear. Yeah? And this happens even subtle levels sometimes. So the idea is to become and learn how to leave aside, yeah, these things, these conceits, especially our arrogance, and be very down to earth and be open to listen. That doesn't mean you listen to everybody and take up everything, and that would be dangerous because there are all kinds of things in the name of Dhamma being said in the world, especially now. Yeah. So, but the ability to just first listen, and then after the talk or the teaching is over, then to see, let me see whether how does this compare with the rest of the teachings, yeah, rest of my understanding. And if it is having a conflict, then you can question in a way, that is not arrogant, but in a more humble way. You can ask questions. How does this work? Or how does this compare with these other teachings? Maybe I can't understand. Maybe I can't see. Yeah, and with a still open heart to understand, maybe there is some truth. Maybe this is another way of explaining it. Yeah, the Buddha is known to be a master in teaching in different angles. It's called different pariyayas, yeah, because different people understand the Dhamma when it is presented in slightly different angle. Maybe it's an angle that we haven't heard, and suddenly, we think that it is different or wrong. But if you have the mind that is open mind to look into it deeply, and you would have that aha moment and say, now I can see how it works. And then your insight, your understanding even become better. Yeah, as a result of your willingness to clearly listen. So this is so important, so very important to not be arrogant. So just I want to also read a sutta just to show the importance of this. And this is from Numerical Discourse, Sanguttara Nikaya, book 5, sutta number 151. In English, it is called The Fixed Course of Rightness. So I'm going to read the sutta. It's a very simple sutta which does not really need any explanation, but this is just to say that the Buddha said exactly the things that I have been just saying just now. So, bhikkhus, possessing 5 qualities, even while listening to the good Dhamma, one is incapable of entering upon a fixed course consisting in rightness, in wholesome qualities. What 5? One disparages the talk. One disparages the speaker. One disparages oneself. One listens to the Dhamma with a distracted and scattered mind. One attends to it carelessly or unwisely. Possessing these 5 qualities, even while listening to the good Dhamma, one is incapable of entering upon the fixed course consisting in rightness, in wholesome qualities. And bhikkhus possessing 5 other qualities while listening to the good Dhamma, one is capable of entering upon the fixed course consisting in rightness, in wholesome qualities. What 5? One does not disparage the talk. One does not disparage the speaker. One does not disparage oneself. One listens to the Dhamma with an undistracted and one-pointed mind. One attends to it carefully or wisely. Possessing these 5 qualities while listening to the good Dhamma, one is capable of entering upon a fixed course consisting in rightness, in wholesome qualities. So quite powerful, yeah, quite powerful, and shows the benefit of not having arrogance and the de-benefit, yeah, or the downfall or the decline or the problem of the opposite. So what does it mean, yeah, entering upon a fixed course consisting in rightness in wholesome qualities? This is a reference to becoming somebody who is saddhanusari or dhammanusari, yeah, somebody faith-based or dhamma-based. I can't remember the English translation for it, I'm sorry, but this is just before the stream entry. Yeah, so somebody who is a saddhanusari or a dhammanusari, how they are like that is before they die in this life. Before their death, they will become a stream winner because they are on the way to stream winning. Yeah, they are people who are on the way to stream, on the path to stream winning. So quite powerful, yeah. So while listening, one is capable in becoming a saddhanusari or a dhammanusari. So, so therefore, the arrogance can really get in the way of our progress. Yeah, it can completely shut down and block and become an obstacle to us receiving the Dhamma and making progress or even attaining some very important fruit. So also here, because I think last Thursday and a couple of weeks also, we have been talking about Sati Sampajanya and especially Yoniso Manasikara, which is wise attention. And this is what is here. Listen to the good Dhamma with carefully or wisely, yeah? Attends to it wisely, means Yoniso Manasikara. With a mind that is one-pointed, yeah? So the mind is not distracted. The mind leaves aside all of those thinking and comparisons and all of those, a silent mind. So this is essentially the Buddha's advice on that total listening. I have previously mentioned there's a very beautiful talk by Ajahn Brahm called Total Listening. And there is a chapter, a beautiful chapter, which I highly recommend, by Ajahn Brahm, one of the books called Opening Up to Kindfulness. You can download it free of charge in Google. It's a PDF available. There's a chapter on this total listening there. And so this is the Buddha's version, yeah, similar. So just becoming your mind peaceful and established here and now. And this is how you listen. And then you can attend to what you listen wisely. Yeah, you're fully there. So really important. But it is impossible for somebody with arrogance to do this. Yeah, you can see it clearly if you have the view that you know you already are the expert. Yeah, this is your professional area, or you've been a practitioner for so long, or you are in fact the teacher or the one who has attained these other things, not the real attainments, but maybe other things. Yeah. And then that itself can block. And this is also why it is so important not to believe in false attainments. Yeah, that very attainment, if it is a false one, itself stops you from progress. These days, it is very common. This is why I'm saying this, that some people are made to believe by some teachers that now you are a stream winner. Now you are a once returner. Yeah, they go to retreats, and at the end of the retreats, they even get a certificate. Yeah, and they believe that they have now attained to these very high attainments. This is really very dangerous, because if you have that view that now you have attained to these things, then that view itself will block you, because it's coming from the wrong place, because they have not yet attained, because the first attainment, what is it? Yeah, stream winning, your Sakkaya Ditti, yeah, your view of a sense of self is broken. So who has attained it? Yeah, even that idea is gone. But if you don't have it, yeah, if it is not a real attainment, then there is somebody holding on to that stream winning. This is the really strange thing, right? So this is the real strange thing. When somebody becomes a stream winner, it's not important for them to even go around telling it. They never do that, yeah? They never, because they realize who attained it. It's just a conditioned process. There's nobody here to attain this attainment. So you can be really sure if you have the question, am I now this? So maybe I'm this, or somebody told you you are this, then that's a sure case that you are definitely not that. But the danger in that is if you take that on board, then it stops your progress. So this is what is important. Yeah, this is a very dangerous anatimānī, it is called. Yeah, it's a very dangerous form of arrogance. Having said that, but it is to make it complete, this atimāna or anatimāna. What is this atimāna? Yeah. So many ways we build this up, many ways that are subtle or gross. Sometimes based on this body, very common thing, yeah, very common thing to take this body to me and myself. Yes, with sutta knowledge, we understand it is not so. But when you look at yourself in the mirror, when you see, when you go in front of a mirror, who do you see? Me, isn't it? You can't say, I'm seeing my non-self. You just see you. Yeah, when you call your name, say, I see, whatever your name is. And it is such a difficult thing to break, that idea, yeah? It doesn't go away with just intellectual knowledge. It goes away with understanding by seeing through clear, like vipassana, that is after deep meditation, when the hindrances have gone, when you truly see what this body truly is, yeah? When that happens only, not by knowledge, but when it becomes your real experience, that is when that Sakkaya Ditti, the idea of taking this body to be oneself, falls away. But before then, that so much arrogance in the world, right? You can see people being so arrogant because of how they look. Yeah. People take their body to be themselves, and based on how they look, especially if they have a nice, good looking, attractive body, very arrogant and very proud can happen. Or sometimes based on their fitness, if they're very strong and powerful, that can lead to arrogance. Or their abilities, if they're able to run fast, jump really high, they do all kinds of interesting, acrobats or whatever special things using their body. Based on that, arrogance can happen. Or based on your health, yeah, some people are really, really healthy. So they have also arrogance coming up based on their good health. So in so many ways, just this body, when we take it to be myself, and you can become quite arrogant. And even with that arrogance, there are many things that can happen. We can go into creating unwholesome, unskillful things by body, speech, and mind, isn't it? In day-to-day life, you can see this happen in the world, hurting other people, yeah, putting yourself up and putting other people down based on this thing. And then not only the body, the feelings. Yeah, we take our feelings to be mine, me, myself. Yeah, and belonging to me. The ownership, yeah, of these things, ownership of your body. That is also why when you have the ownership of your body, that is when the body things go wrong, when you fall sick, it's very scary for people. Yeah, it gives so much anxiety because you feel it's me now, I'm suffering. So the feeling at the body, and then the feeling, when the painful feelings come in, it's a shock to the system. But also, like the feelings when you have good meditation, yeah, when you have experience some very powerful states, those are feelings as well. Then you take them to be you. I am the one who attained these states with these kinds of experiences, who have experienced these feelings. Again, taking those experiences, even the deep meditative states, if you take it to be you in your own experience, rather than seeing that it is a conditioned process. Yeah, even the jhana states there is only 5 aggregates there. The Panchupadana Khanda, it's a state of that. But if you take it to be you, then again, arrogance can come up. And you can see sometimes in the meditation circles, people could have arrogance coming up based on their practices. Yeah. So this is doing it without too much right view. So they are probably not true jhanas, but, quite powerful mind states. So perceptions and intentions as well, because, even all of your knowledge, yeah, based on all of the knowledge you have. Yeah, people, I am the doctor, I am the engineer, I am the teacher, I am whatever, yeah. All of those professional things that you have learned. So based on those, based on knowledge, based on our educational background, arrogance come up quite easily, isn't it? We really put people with high education up and think people who don't have much education are stupid, or, put them down, which is really wrong. But this happens, unfortunately, in society. Look down upon people, yeah. But this is really wrong as well. But you can see this kind of arrogance and the damage it does to oneself and to others, and the unskillful actions done by body, speech, and mind. Yeah. So these have to be purified before your heart is ready to spread metta. Your heart is ready to get enlightenment, for insights to come up. That is why this is so important. But I'm going a bit back and forth as things come into my mind. But even because of your birth, how you have been born, yeah, to your family that you have been born to, people have a lot of arrogance, right? Whether you are born to upper class, yeah, middle class, lower class, whether it's a class or the caste, or the area that you've been born, your skin color, the country, the region, even the suburb you live in. Can you see how much arrogance come in? So just with birth, yeah, where you've been born to, which kind of place, to family you've been born to, arrogance can come in. And then also that your possessions, yeah, again, you become the owner of your possessions, not only your body, but all the things. Oh, I'm the one who has this $1 billion house in this suburb. Or I'm the one who has this expensive sports car. I'm the one who has all of these other things. Yeah. So based on even the material things, which sounds really silly, right? But some people are quite arrogant. Oh, I am the one who has the Ferrari. Yeah. This is quite, we might laugh at this, but this happens, unfortunately. Yeah. And of course, as I mentioned, the knowledge. Yeah, I am the one with all these special knowledges, special teachings, and special information that others don't have. And arrogance can come. But even you can see the arrogance that people have with something so simple like ability to cook. Yeah, some people can make a dish really, really well. They have this special, their own secret recipe, which they don't even share because they want to be the one. Yeah. to be able to make it perfectly. Just a simple thing, but just to notice, it's so subtle. It's so subtle how these things can come up, not just with only a recipe, with other things as well. You are the one who can do this really well. Yeah. So when this comes, how dangerous it is. Yeah. You damage and hurt yourself, and also you hurt other people, and you stop your progress. So this is why it is so important to understand this and see it coming up. The reason why I went into all these little things and areas is to see, right? So in our day to day, when these things surely going to come up, because we are, unless you are really, at least a stream winner or above, these things are surely touching our mind from time to time. We get carried away and get fooled by these things, even in a subtle way. Even if you've been practicing for a long time, these things will come up in our minds. Just catch them, see them, and laugh at it. Yeah, that's a good way to deal with it when this comes up. If you remember the danger, and if you remember the truth, yeah, all this is just conditioned. Yeah, how can we say this body is mine? Yeah. Do you have much control over it? Yes, you have a little bit of control, as in you can walk it here and there, you can move your limbs here and there, you can watch and talk and eat, do few things. But there are many other things of this body you have no idea. Yeah, you have no control over your digestive system. You have no control of the beating of your heart or the movement of your lungs. Yeah, or how your liver functions. And your body never asks your permission before it falls sick, isn't it? Yeah, it falls sick at sometimes very inconvenient. So this body is completely out of our control and does not belong to me. It is a conditioned process. But we foolishly take it to be mine, and based on that, even develop conceit. So this is important practice. Yeah. So as we experience the world, as we receive the world, yeah, as we receive an experience of sight, based on that sight, you could see how conceit can build up. Based on something that you hear as you receive, yeah, hearing, conceit can come up. Watch these things in meditation, yeah, as you eat, as you smell, as touches are experienced, and even with the mind. So it is one thing to see this in day-to-day life that doesn't take you to really profound realizations. Nevertheless, they can still be helpful to reduce a large number of these things and get into the practice. But of course, it's much more powerful when this is done after you've had deep meditation, when the hindrances are down, or at least to a large degree if the hindrances are down. So if you had a reasonably good meditation, even if you look, it is a little bit better, but of course the real power is there after the jhanas. But reflecting back, you can see, yeah? Reflecting back, you can see, and this is so important. Yeah, this is so very important. This is how you break this conceit. Yeah, so even after a jhana, if you forget about these things, then somebody might take yourself to have experienced it. And you might get attraction for it, some desire for it, some attachment for it. It's not too bad compared to other attachments and desires you have in the world. Yeah, in the Sampasadaniya Sutta, the Buddha describes if you have desire for jhanas, then result will be ultimately, once returning, non-returning, and arahantship and stream entry, of course. Yeah. So, but still, the Buddha's advice, this comes up again and again in the suttas, is after you have experienced a deep meditation, then to do this reflection. Yeah. And that is to reflect that is aniccato, anattato, rogato, gandato, sallato, parato, palokato, sunyato. Yeah, aniccato. And yeah, so that is just to see that it is just impermanent. Yeah, it is conditioned. Even this jhana mind or the deep meditation, whatever you experience was conditioned. Yeah, it was made up by the way you attended, the way you did your yoniso manasikara, yeah? How you attended on the breath, or in this occasion with metta meditation, how the mind got one-pointed and how the hindrances went down. So it is conditioned. It arose as a result of conditions. When the conditions fall away, the experience also falls away. This is how you come out of the jhana. When the conditions fall away, the jhana mind is no longer there. So it is impermanent. It is not to be taken as self, because it is just came because of conditions. There is nothing, no permanent essence there, no controlling factor there. Yeah. So, but also to look at it as a roga, that is like a illness, a disease. Yeah. Ganda means like a wound. Sallato means like you've been pierced through an arrow. Like, and parato, it's as if it belongs to somebody else. Palokato, like it's so fragile and breaks up. Yeah. And sunyato, it is empty. Empty of what? Empty of a sense of self. Anattato, yeah, not belonging to oneself. Yeah, not me, not mine, not myself, not belonging to me. So this is the Buddha's recommendation. So for all the experience, jhana is so important as well, because these are the places, because of they are very pleasurable experiences. So somebody without right view, if they happen to get into there too much before, at different stages in your path, you can still get into it. So that is why the Buddha recommends not to get fooled by that and not to become the person who attains this. Rather, see it as a phenomenon. Yeah. But also for all these other experience is also really important. Yeah. Everything else around us, to break this idea, the identity view, to break this up, it is so important. And this is why we have the Satipatthana practice. Yeah. The Satipatthana practice is precisely there to break the identity view at different levels, starting from Kayanupassana. Yeah. So Kayanupassana, especially there to break the view that this body is myself. Yeah, and other bodies are also belonging to a self. So having the right view about a body, what is a body? A body is something that is just made up of these body parts, yeah, and made up of all these aggregates, elements, just a bunch of elements. That's all there is to it. So we don't get fooled by the body, and we understand, the operations of a body and how out of control it is. Yeah, how it has its own agendas. Yeah, what you feed, the exercises you give, how you train, so many things, even the weather, yeah, everything, the diseases around, all of these things condition your body. It's just a conditioned thing. So you come to that understanding as you practice Kayanupassana. Vedananupassana, yeah, feelings. I'm not going into any great depth because we have spoken in other places, these suttas, just to remind, yeah, this is why, this is how we do these things. So our identity view starts to fade away, and which is important because it is that gives us that ability to become anatimānī, yeah, not to have that conceit, which is important. So feeling again, when you keep observing the feelings to be of just three kinds: pleasant feelings, painful feelings, and just neutral feelings. That's all there is to feeling. And feeling comes when the contact happens. When the contact breaks away, the feeling changes. So you see the very transient nature of feelings. Feelings does not last as long as you remember them. Yeah, you sort of have this idea of feelings lasting for a long time, especially the painful ones. You feel like they're there forever. But the truth is that they're not there forever. Yeah, they just last there only as long as the contact is there and conditionally arisen again. Yeah, it is conditionally arisen. As long as the attention is there, it is there. When the contact is broken, the feeling is gone. Same with the perceptions, same with the mind state. So that is where the Chittanupassana and Dhammanupassana comes up. I think we have taken quite a lot of time in the Thursday sermons to go through these, so I won't go through them here. But the idea is how these practices are helpful for us to break the identity view, to bring down, this conceit, the anatimānī, and then we can try to make progress. Of course, the progress helps the breaking of the identity view, and slowly, as the identity view starts to fall apart, we are able to make progress. So they are connected. Yeah, that's how the whole path works. As you progress, things becomes easier. As things become easier, you progress faster. So this is how it goes. So I think this is probably all I have to say about this, or maybe not. Maybe I have one more sutta that I can read related to this, and that is from Majjhima Nikaya, Middle Net Discourses. I think it is sutta number 15. It is called Anumāna Sutta. Since we have a bit of time, maybe I will read this and see how we go. Thus have I heard. On one occasion, the Venerable Mahamoggallana was living in the Bagga country at Sumsumaragiri in the Besakala Grove, the deer park. There he addressed the bhikkhus thus: friends, bhikkhus. So, friend, they replied. The Venerable Mahamoggallana said this: friends, though a bhikkhu asks thus, let the Venerable Ones admonish me. I need to be admonished by the Venerable Ones. Yet, if he is difficult to admonish and possesses qualities that make him difficult to admonish, if he is impatient and does not take instructions rightly, then his companions in the holy life think that he should not be admonished or instructed. They think of him as a person not to be trusted. What qualities make him difficult to admonish? So quite an important thing, right? These are even the Aryans, Venerable Mahamoggallana and all the Aryans. This is their view. If they realize somebody is so difficult, they have really strong, all these other qualities, then they do not speak. This was one thing that you can see. This is called Brahmadanda. Yeah, this is the only kind of punishment that is there. Usually the Buddha's dispensation does not have any punishments, but this was one that was there. And this was applied to somebody called Channa. Yeah, there was a Venerable Channa, and he actually was the charioteer when Prince Siddhartha Gautama left the palace, he was his charioteer, Channa. So he had quite a lot of arrogance, thinking, I was the charioteer. He was just a prince then. He didn't know anything. He even asked me about all of these things, about old age, sickness, and death, in the sense, things happening in the stories we hear. So he had quite a lot of arrogance and wasn't listening, was difficult to admonish to. So the Buddha finally, as out of compassion, told all the teachers, all the monastics, to not instruct him. Stop giving him teaching, because when they give teachings, he wouldn't listen. He would argue. He would, not heed. So therefore, the Buddha said, "Don't do it." So when everybody stopped, then Channa had a big shock. Yeah, when Channa had a big shock, nobody would give him any teaching. Finally, he realized. Yeah, finally he realized, and then he went and became humble and really asked. When the monastics realized that he had now understood the problem, the arrogance, that he had laid it aside and now is really truly asking and ready to listen, that is the time they gave him the instructions. And then, of course, he was able to make progress. So this is quite important thing. But also in other places, I can't remember the sutta really well. There is a sutta about 5 different types of horses. Yeah, how the Buddha instruct. There are different kinds of pupils, different kinds of students. And the last kind, the Buddha says, I kill them. I kill that kind of horse. And everybody has a shock. How can Buddha kill somebody? Because, non-killing is one of the precepts. Buddha does not recommend killing, but he says killing is not through by actually killing the person, but by not giving instructions, not giving the Dhamma. That is how one kills, in the sense, this is done to people who have this extreme arrogance, yeah, who have very dark defilements, and they are not able to be tamed. So those people, even the Buddha would not instruct. This is how dangerous the situation can be. Yeah, even a Buddha would not instruct. So it's quite important to see this. So these are the 16 qualities. So what qualities make him difficult to admonish? Yeah. So this now applies to the last 3 qualities. Dovachasata, that is opposite of Sovachasata, and gentle, Mudu, opposite of Mudu, and anatimānī. So all these 3 qualities that come up in the Karaniyametta Sutta. So here, a bhikkhu has evil wishes and is dominated by evil wishes. This is a quality that makes him difficult to admonish. Again, a bhikkhu loads himself and disparages others. This is a quality that makes him difficult to admonish. Again, a bhikkhu is angry and is overcome by anger. This is a quality that makes him difficult to admonish. Again, a bhikkhu is angry and resentful because of anger. And this is a quality that makes him difficult to admonish. Again, a bhikkhu is angry and stubborn because of anger. And this is a quality that makes him difficult to admonish. Again, a bhikkhu is angry and he utters words bordering in anger. And that makes him difficult to admonish. Again, a bhikkhu is reproved and he resists the reprover. Yeah. Again, a bhikkhu is reproved and he denigrates the reprover. A bhikkhu is reproved and he counter-reproves the reprover. You can see these things, right? Some people doing this, and even ourselves be doing this. Again, a bhikkhu is reproved and prevaricates, leads and talks aside and shows anger, hate, and bitterness. Again, a bhikkhu is reproved and he fails to account for his conduct. A bhikkhu is contemptuous and insolent. Again, a bhikkhu is envious and avaricious. A bhikkhu is fraudulent and deceitful. A bhikkhu is obstinate and arrogant. A bhikkhu adheres to his own views, holds on to them tenaciously, and relinquishes them with difficulty. This is a quality that makes him difficult to admonish. Yeah. So these 16 qualities we can see, right? Sometimes we see how we respond to when being admonished by somebody. Especially admonishment is hard, right? Dhamma discourse or listening to a talk may be easier, but if you've been, reproved by somebody, if somebody says, try to give you advice or admonishment, that is when the true color starts to come up. You can see how you take out the guns and shoot the other person in simple terms. This is how you do it, yeah? Quite beautifully said in this sutta by Venerable Mahamoggallana. So I think I might not go into too much detail today into this, but you can read it, contemplate it. It's not a huge amount to be said. It's quite straightforward as you hear it, what that is. And we see this happening in people. You can see all these responses. We have been at the receiving end and giving end, right? In these kinds of occasions, if we were the admonisher or the one being admonished, doing these things. So especially if it is at work with a work colleague, especially if it is your peer doing this to you, yeah, husbands and wives, brothers and sisters, these are very difficult situations where these kinds of arrogance really pop out in us and behave in these ways, yeah. So I leave that for your own reflection, because it is really powerful when we, take each line and reflect, yeah, how this comes out in ourselves, how it has come out in us in the past, and how you have seen this come out in others. And this is not the time to go and tell off other people, hey, don't do this, you're being so arrogant. Not that, but for your own information. And it's very ugly, isn't it, when people respond in this way, in these 16 ways. It doesn't matter how beautiful or attractive their features may be. Such a person do not appear as beautiful. But when people have the opposite qualities and do not behave in this way, but behave in a way that is humble, easy to speak to, yeah, don't speak back, yeah, don't argue, and listens carefully. And then it is really beautiful. Such people, you want to hang out with them. Yeah? These are the people with sovachassata quality. Yeah? Easy to speak to. Gentle in their nature. Gentle and kind. Yeah? And are doesn't have this conceit. Quite humble. Quite beautiful. So that itself is an inspiration. Yeah? That itself is an inspiration to look into these things. It is easily said than done, because they come out almost as reactions, because when somebody says, you can see this come up. At least catch it when it comes inside your mind, but before you respond or react with it by words and by body. Yeah, often we respond with words. At least if you can catch yourself, these things coming up in your mind, and if you remember, oh, this is not to my benefit. Yeah, this is not to my benefit, especially not to my benefit, but also not for the benefit of others as well. So if you remember the de-benefit, or the problem of this, then you can probably stop yourself. This is the beauty of having mindfulness, right? When you have mindfulness established, you can see how your mind responds to things, yeah, how your mind listens to things, receive the world, and reacts. And that is the space that we have time and ability to do something about. This is where the practice is. The practice really is. So You can see this is again going back to yoniso manasikara, wise attention. Yeah, when you have wise attention, you catch yourself and correct yourself. Yeah, you at least stop at the very least. Otherwise, if you had ayoniso manasikara or unwise attention, you go straight ahead, how you feel, how you want to act, and with that ignorance and with that conceit, you do things that are unskillful and unbeneficial to yourself and others. So really good practice, really beautiful practice to be able to do this. Sometimes we need a bit of time, a break, right? So if you are interested in building this ability, especially with seeing this as we experience the world, as we receive the world, which is, all of our wakeful times. If you want to take up this practice, one of the places a really beautiful method is given by the Buddha is in the Indriya Bhavana Sutta. This is in the Middle Length Discourses, Sutta number 152. There the Buddha says, so when you have an experience of sight, right? So that is when you have your eye and you give attention to a form, and when the three comes together, contact happens, and as a result of that contact, you get a feeling. And when you get a feeling, you also recognize either this is manapa or amanapa. Either it is pleasant or unpleasant or neutral. Yeah, this is the three kinds of feelings. So you recognize that, but how do you stop there instead of going into one form of craving? Yeah, because what happens if you are not mindful is if it is a pleasant feeling that you like, you crave for it, you run after it. But if you see something that you don't like, if it is unpleasant, you want to run away from it. Yeah, you want to get rid of it, and this is still a form of wanting. Yeah, want to get rid of it. If it is neutral, you are really unaware of it. You don't do anything about it, but you can still be carried away with the neutral feeling as well. So this is where the problem starts. This is what takes you. But if you can stop there, yeah, ditte ditte matta, sute sutta mutta, yeah, mute mutta matta, viññāne viññāna matta. This is the instruction that the Buddha gave to both Mālunkya Putta and the Bahaya. And that is, in the seeing, may there only be seeing. In the hearing, may there only be hearing. In the feeling, may there only be feeling. In the knowing, may there only be knowing. Yeah, this is what is ditte ditte mattang, sute sutta mattang, mutte mutta mattang, viññāne viññāna mattang means. So if you can stop there, that would be amazing, isn't it? That would be really amazing. But how do you do that? So in the Indriya Bhavana Sutta, when the contact happens, when you have an experience, for example, of sight, you recognize, yeah, the feeling born of that is of belonging to the three categories of feeling. But then you remember etang santang, etang panitang, yadidang upekka. So you remember this is peaceful, this is sublime, and that is equanimity. Yeah, because to various degrees we have experienced peace and equanimity. I mean, of course, the highest form of equanimity is the fourth jhana, but we also experience an equanimous mind, yeah, the mind that does not go to the extreme ends of strong desires or strong aversions, yeah, but much more stable. So when you remember that, then the mind learns to drop. Yeah, that's one way of doing that. So you can use, if your mind so inclines to, you can use that practice. When you have an experience of hearing, experience of taste, experience of touch, any one of those, any experience as you receive the world. After recognition and acknowledgement of the type of feeling, then you can incline your mind to just equanimity. That's a good way to take a break, yeah, to have a break. And then slowly, slowly, you are able to become quiet, bring your mind to one-pointedness. and also insight comes up. Yeah, and then you come to the realization that there is nobody here. So the identity view starts to fade away. Yeah, there is nobody experiencing this. It's just conditions coming together, and it's just a phenomenon there. So you don't, based on that contact, build up sankharas, formations, with ignorance and create a sense of self. Otherwise, what happens to us when we have the ignorance? We just take ourselves to be the one experiencing this, feeling this, knowing this, even this body. So this is how we get fooled to believing this body to be mine, this feeling to be mine, the perceptions to be mine, all these intentions or volitions to be mine, even the consciousness to be mine. But as you do this practice, this is one way of doing, but not the only way. There are many other ways of doing that. Slowly, slowly, you are able to break free. Again, this kind of reflection, this kind of way of meditation is more powerful done after deep meditation. But before deep meditation, if you do this also, it can guide you. It can help you to come to meditation, to make your mind one-pointed, because you're not running away, you're not getting carried away with these five senses or even with the mind, yeah, just becoming the mind one-pointed in the meditation object, so you don't get carried away. So this is one thing, but you can also use it as understanding that this is just, things are impermanent, non-self, you know, all of those are also valid ways of dealing with it. But whatever it is, all of these practices are very helpful to purify our mind. Yeah. So anyway, I've taken a whole hour discussing this, and I would like to open up for any questions, comments, and feedback.
Ayya, there is a question in the chat.
Ah, okay. All right. Oh, there are questions in the chat. Okay. Oh, from Tamha. Good morning. I don't know how to reconcile things are just conditions. It seems hard to accept injustice and unethical behavior as just conditions and let it pass, so to say. Fair enough. I don't blame you. Of course, these are not easy things. Yeah. So the point is, it doesn't mean that you don't take the necessary actions, because this is the hard thing, right? So if you just, say, it's nothing, it's just conditions, and you allow injustice to happen, that is, or an unethical behavior to continue on, well, that is wrong. And absolutely, that is not what is meant here. Yeah, that is absolutely not what is meant here. This is holding the snake in the wrong way. Yeah, this is holding the Dhamma in the wrong way, but it is reasonable that it can be misunderstood. So what the Buddha is saying here is that you understand what is going on, but you, of course, acknowledge that this is not right. Yeah, killing, harming, lying, oh, so many things that are not correct, not right. Of course, they bring harm. So, of course, you have a take some action. You do the action by all means. Yeah, you put your boundaries. You take, even take them to court, or whatever it is that needs to be done is done. But what stops what you need to do is the emotions that come up that are unskillful. Yeah, because when you see unethical behavior, unjust happens, what happens is we get worked up. Yeah, we get anger, irritation come up in our mind. That is not useful. That is not helpful. In fact, that is very useless. Yeah, that is really kind of silly. And it stops our own progress. On the account of the world outside, we are getting affected and we are going backwards. It is not useful. Yeah, we can't do anything that is useful when we have anger, irritation, agitation, or any kinds of negative emotions. So this is where, when you understand, it is conditioned. Yeah, it is not coming from a sense of self. When you understand that, that stops. This is what I have been saying, but we need to say it many more times and hear it many more times and reflect on it many more times before we get it. But this is the point, yeah? This is the point, to understand the conditionality. So this difficult person, the person who is doing something that is unjust, maybe somebody who's very abusive, quite really bad maybe, yeah? Really doing something really, really harmful. And there are such people in the world. But understanding why are they doing that? Yeah, understanding what has conditioned, because the Buddha's teaching is we have been conditioned. And when they do not have mindfulness established, yeah, unless they are spiritually developed and practicing, and such a person would not do such injustice and unethical things, right? So they do not have mindfulness, right mindfulness, yeah. They do not have these values because they haven't been taught, they didn't come across, or they didn't have the good conditioning. They had the wrong conditioning, they had bad conditioning. They took them up and they thought it is okay to do this. It is okay to do this behavior. That's their view that they have taken up. That wrong view has conditioned them. And as a result of taking up that wrong view and being conditioned by that wrong view, they do this harmful, unethical, injustice, things in the world. But when you see that, it's not really right to blame them, because they didn't have really a choice in the matter, in the sense they didn't have enough mindfulness. Yeah, they didn't know. It feels like when we have, right view, and when we have cultivated in the past, almost we feel like, we take it for granted, but it is not so. Yeah, it is not so. It's really hard for some people to know what is right and what is wrong, what is wholesome and what is not wholesome, what is skillful and what is unskillful. And we wonder, how can somebody think that killing and harming and hurting is okay? But they're doing it precisely because they still have some kind of wrong view underlying them. What is obvious to us as really harmful, hurtful, and should not be done. They still have some kind of wrong conditioning. Yeah, this is the teaching of the Buddha, that they are conditioned. That's why they do it. But doesn't mean that what they're doing is right, and accept and allow them. But we understand. So when we understand, then we also understand that still there are intentional actions by them, right? Actions by them, intentional body, speech, and mind things. So, Chetanaham bhikkave kammam vadami. So, intentional actions have consequences. So, these people who do these terrible things still have to reap consequences. And when we remember, still they were conditioned from the past, sometimes previous lives, yeah. So sometimes the perpetrators of this life, they were the victims in the past life. They have been at the end of being tortured, being traumatized, and as a result of that, they come back. As a result of that pain, they try to do something in the place of trying to get rid of their pain. This is the delusion. They don't understand. By causing harm to another person, they are creating more problem. But in their delusion, they think by doing that, they're going to get some release. That's why they do it. We can't see it. But this is the thing, yeah? This is why people do these things. So when we have that understanding, causality, conditionality about these things, yet they have to reap consequences that are quite terrible, then our honest response is compassion. Yeah, compassion has to come up. Out of compassion, we can take action. Yeah, we can take actions to stop them from doing that, even by putting them in jail sometimes. Yeah, sometimes, whatever you need to do, put in the boundaries that you need to do, you can do that. So doesn't mean that you allow them to do it, but as a result of the doing, you don't become You don't allow negative and unskillful, unwholesome mind states to come up within you. That's the only thing. I hope I made it clear, and this is really important. Yeah, this is a very... Okay.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Thank you so much.
Okay, you're very welcome.